You're watching News at Prime. Let's get into this discussion now. The Limpopo ANC is asking the party's National Executive Committee to consider reviving VBS Mutual Bank, which was looted of nearly 2 billion rand. The bank's Shareholders Forum believes that more could have been done to save the bank, and that is the decision to liquidate it was premature. Let's talk now to Tshenuwani, Farisani Foundation CEO Fhumulani Mathivha, who joins us now via the virtual platform. Mr. Mathivha, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. The ANC in the Limpopo province asking its mother body through the ongoing meeting right now for the revival of the VBS Bank. As former shareholders of the VBS Mutual Bank, how does that make you feel?
Look, the call has been there for some time, and I think it's a noble calling from the African National Congress in Limpopo. We're not so sure whether the license can be revived as is, because there are a lot of things that has happened, and in the previous approaches to the Reserve Bank, the shareholders have been told that the license may not be revived as it was in the previous occasions. There's a lot that needs to be done, but the bank's revival is appreciated, and we support the ANC's call.
Let's assume that this call by the Limpopo ANC to its mother body, it finds expression, and finally it gets to the ears of the Reserve Bank. What would be the business case for the revival of this bank? And by the way, let's make the difference crystal clear here. VBS, the former, it was a mutual bank. What would the difference be between itself now, or would you press for a commercial bank status if and when revived?
Look, shareholders have been given different options in the past few years when they asked for a revival of the bank. In terms of the licensing, it should align with the present dispensation. Obviously, things have changed in the past 10 years when the VBS collapsed. We do have African Bank, we do have other banks, Time Bank, that are there in the space today. The shareholders should be asked honestly. That's why we prefer a serious hearing, and we're calling upon the different portfolio committees of Parliament, Portfolio Committee on Finance, Portfolio Committee on all other things, to come to the province, to come to Vembe district and sit down with the shareholders and talk to them. The people here are still interested in banking, because obviously the reason why there was a VBS Bank is because they did not trust the main banks that are there. But now, besides the trust deficit, there are other things that are happening. And one of the women who lost a lot of money yesterday said, I don't know what to trust anymore. I don't trust any bank at all. So the trust deficit that is there needs first to be jogged around, because there's a lot of public relations exercise that needs to be done if we have to have a new bank.
Yeah. Talking about a trust deficit, for the ANC, the Limpopo ANC, to go and make this proposal to their mother body, the assumption would be made that at least they have had thoroughgoing conversations with yourselves, the Shareholders Forum, the broader people of Limpopo province, particularly those that were hard done by when this bank folded. Has that conversation been had?
The conversations hasn't started as yet. It's on the corridors, obviously. We did share with the ANC about what is needed in this part of the world. And I think this is the first shot of the calling that goes broader. And that's why we're saying we appreciate the call by the ANC in Limpopo, that it has gone to the mother body so that it can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
But a thorough informed decision, obviously, we believe they will come back to the people on the ground and talk to them again.
But then when you put it like that, that the conversation has not been had yet, it is on the corridors, as you put it, does that make the ANC an honest broker? Why would they want to table this at a forum of the NEC without even having had an engagement with yourselves? Do you trust that this comes from a good place?
I don't think there's anything wrong. The conversations have started. It's just a matter of how then do we shift it around and include all those that needs to be included. And we trust that the ANC has made an honest call. Let the talks begin, and we take it from there.
I suppose one of the key questions here would be, if indeed it is ultimately revived, how would it be protected from corrupt politicians in the first place? Would that be one of those key questions you have in mind if the engagement does happen with the ANC?
I would caution us to assume that everybody is corrupt. The incidents that happened to VBS are unfortunate. And we have had at the same space as we talked with yourselves in the past weeks. We talked about the other banks which were in the same space, which had collapsed at the same time. But the Reserve Bank assisted them and revived them. There's a lot of capital that should go in. But we should not assume that everybody that's involved in banking or that would be involved in the next banking phase would be corrupt. Let's be cautious about that and allow ourselves to operate in that space, because there's a need for Black people to occupy the space of the market.
Yeah.
And let's give it the benefit of the doubt.
When you say, as the Shareholders Forum, when you say that the VBS Mutual Bank was closed prematurely, do you believe that political pressure assisted in that regard? If so, what would you base that on?
When you read the Tshenuwani's report, due expressions were made, and we believe the government at the time, when it made a decision, it saved a lot that would have gone extremely wrong. It might have been worse than what has happened if they did not close it. We have read the report, the engagements were there, and we are where we are now because of that. We don't think it was prematurely. It was a necessity. Maybe it took a long time to do it, to close it. But now we're in the next phase of the revival as to how do we then go to the next phase of reviving the bank and make sure that the people find expression in securing their monies.
Final question. Whenever the name VBS Mutual Bank or the subject VBS Mutual Bank is spoken about in Limpopo, the understanding is that there is a climate of fear. Who is terrorizing the community? Whoever wants to speak about the VBS Bank, because this is something that the people of Limpopo suffered dearly after its closure. Surely people should be allowed to talk about it, almost as if it were a form of therapy. Because when you talk about something, because it hurts you, you help to release. Why is it that there is a climate of fear whenever VBS is spoken about? Do we know who the terrorizers are?
We don't. We're waiting for the police to tell us that. Obviously, in a free country like ours, as we would like to call it, people should find expression in terms of putting the expressions. And yesterday we just had an event where we're giving food parcels to those VBS victims. And one of the women says, I'm afraid to talk about this. I'm not comfortable in coming in here. Surely she might have been terrorized. And we have given this to law enforcement agencies. And we hope they will do their work this time and find out who is actually intimidating and terrorizing people, not to talk about VBS. Yes, the name VBS has come out to be that enigma where if you mention it, you are a target. We've been told, yes, we believe you're talking too much. Why are you all of a sudden talking about VBS? VBS should be talked about. People should find a way of talking about this, and maybe even in the corridors without being intimidated, not even being afraid, talk about it publicly like what we're doing now, so that we can have a redress about this. And then when it's passed, we'll be able to look back and say, we came a long way.
Fhumulani Mathivha, thank you very much for your time, the CEO of the Tshenuwani Farisani Foundation. Thanks indeed for your time. All right.